Little Charlotte, she's as pretty as the angels when they sing. I can't believe I'm out here on the front porch in the swing. A swing band.
Good morning and welcome to the Hall of Fame Rotunda. My name is Sarah Traherne. I'm the CEO of the Country Music Association. And it's an incredible honor to be here with you today as we unveil our newest class of inductees into the Country Music Hall of Fame. Here in this hallowed rotunda is where country music's story is told. And today we add 3 new names to that story. Each year, this moment reminds us of why we do what we do. Today we honor not just talent, but impact. Not just success, but legacy. In a few moments, we'll reveal 3 extraordinary individuals who will receive the highest honor in country music. Inductees will be announced today in 3 categories. The non-performer rotating category, honoring those behind the scenes who make the music possible. The Veterans Era Artist category, celebrating the trailblazers who paved the way. And the Modern Era Artist category, recognizing those who continue to shape the future of our genre. At CMA, we celebrate excellence year-round, but today is always very special. Because long before today, before the platinum records and sold-out shows, before the awards and accolades, these inductees were dreamers. Their music didn't just climb the charts, it shaped generations. It certainly has entertained, but more importantly, it has endured. With this announcement, these inductees will join the esteemed ranks of 155 other legends forever etched into the fabric of country music history. The one thing they all have in common, relentless drive, a passion so strong that it carried them from here to the unbroken circle. CMA created the Country Music Hall of Fame in 1961, and since then, it has stood the ultimate recognition of country music excellence. CMA is proud to oversee the balloting and selection process, ensuring those that have shaped our genre by making an indelible impact are recognized. We're delighted to welcome our guests here in the Rotunda and joining us via live stream today as we celebrate this historic moment. Before we move forward, I wanted to take a moment to express my eternal gratitude to our CMA Board of Directors, many of whom are here with us today. Their dedicated passion and tireless efforts drive us to keep growing and shaping country music all around the globe. I'd also like to extend a special thank you to our chair of our Awards and Recognition Committee, Dan Rogers, as well as our vice chair, R.J. Curtis, both of whom are here in the room with us today. And to the many Country Music Hall of Fame members in the room, you know better than anyone what this honor means. Thank you for being here today and helping us welcome the newest class. And finally, to Kyle Young and the incredible Country Music Association staff, Country Music Museum staff, and my CMA staff, your work in preserving these stories ensures that country music's rich history is never forgotten. We're grateful for your ongoing support and partnership. Please join me in welcoming Kyle for a few remarks.
Thank you, Sarah. Partner in crime.
Partner in crime.
Well, good morning and welcome everyone to the Hall of Fame Rotunda. We all look forward to this day every year. This is the day we learn who will join the most exclusive circle in our music, the unbroken circle. In a few moments, we will learn about the Hall of Fame's 3 new inductees. They come from North Carolina, Virginia, and Tennessee. You might call those contiguous states the Fertile Crescent of country music because so much country music greatness was born there. In fact, with the addition of our 3 newest members, a full 25% of the Hall of Fame members will hail from North Carolina, Virginia, and Tennessee. All 3 of these worthy individuals have advanced country music and have left indelible impacts on our genre. Even before they achieved this pinnacle, the highest honor our genre bestows, they'd firmly established themselves as unforgettable contributors to our music. Fittingly, they will now forever be enshrined here with their illustrious peers who shaped our art form. The museum doesn't elect members of the Hall of Fame, but we are the caretakers of their rich stories. We uphold and preserve their legacies. We cherish these vital duties and responsibilities. They are central to our mission to collect, preserve, and interpret the evolving history and traditions of country music. And we really look forward to the official inductions at the medallion ceremony in October. Now, I'll turn it back over to Sarah Traherne.
Thank you, Kyle. As Kyle just mentioned, the individuals we announced today will be formally inducted during the annual medallion ceremony in the fall in the CMA Theater. And as a partner of the Hall of Fame, I just always look forward to that day. They do such a great job of honoring the three individuals that we're going to talk about today. I'm always surprised by who they come up with the performances and the songs, and I know that the three people we announced today are going to have incredible, incredible music for that special day in October. And now, to announce our 2025 Country Music Hall of Fame inductees, I'm thrilled to introduce our host. With over 20 top 10 hits and over 25 million albums sold, he's a 22-time Grammy Award winner with countless CMA honors. He's a country music legend, a member of the Country Music Hall of Fame, and one of the most respected artists in our genre. Please join me in welcoming the one and only Vince Gill.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, thank you. Or as I like to say, the best you could get for free on a Tuesday at 10. Oh man, it's great to be here. Thank you for joining me today as we announce these names that will appear on these walls as the newest class to join the Country Music Hall of Fame. Today we have the honor of celebrating three individuals who have reached the highest honor in country music. Their artistry has not only defined country music for audiences worldwide, but it's also inspired future generations, paving the way for those who follow in their footsteps. So without further ado, we will begin with the non-performer rotating category. I never wanted to be famous, today's inductee once wrote. I just wanted to be noticed. And boy, was he. Within the country music industry, he became both a musician, a producer, a record executive that the Los Angeles Times once called the kingmaker of country music. He's produced more than 100 chart-topping hits, helped shape the career of some of the biggest names in the genre. Born in Greensboro, North Carolina, 25% of the Hall of Famers are from North Carolina. I don't know if you know that or not, but in Tennessee and somewhere else. I wasn't paying attention. But he grew up singing harmony with his family's gospel group before he switched to the piano. And he later joined the Mighty Oak Ridge Boys backing band, the Mighty Oaks Band. And that gig eventually landed him into a member of Elvis Presley's orbit as a member of The Voice, available for late nights when the king wanted to sing gospel songs. He joined Elvis's TCB band, where he played piano for Elvis's final concert in 1977. After Elvis's passing, he joined Emmylou Harris's famous Hot Band, and during the 70s and 80s appeared on some of her records, Blue Kentucky Girl and White Shoes, before making the leap into producing for Free Flight Records in RCA's Nashville division. Around the same time, he joined Rodney Crowell's backing band, the Cherry Bombs. That's where I first got to know him. He was the one guy that convinced me to move to Nashville, and when he returned to RCA as an executive, he was a big part of signing me to my first record deal. But his influence extends far beyond me, as you'll find out. As a producer, he's had hits with Steve. His first hit was with Steve Wariner, Midnight Fire, and later go on to produce Guitar Town, Steve Earle's great record, and Rodney's Diamonds and Dirt. That was the first country record ever to have 5 #1 singles. And then in 1984, he jumped from RCA to MCA Nashville, helping make it Nashville's #1 label during the country boom of the 90s, and eventually becoming the president of the company. He developed a reputation for signing and producing not only commercially successful acts, but also adventurous, influential ones. During his time at MCA, he signed many future Hall of Famers like myself, Patty Loveless, Marty Stewart, many more, working with Winona Judd on her first 3 solo records, and developing great production relationships with Reba McEntire and George Strait. He was a pioneering force in what would become known as Americana, either signing or producing the likes of Joe Ely, Shooter Jennings, Lyle Lovett, the Mavericks, and Allison Moore. But after leaving MCA, he founded Universal South with my old friend Tim Dubois in 2002. And he's a 6-time Grammy winner, recipient of the ACM Icon Award, and a member of the North Carolina Music Hall of Fame and Gospel Music Hall of Fame. And his influence on our music is undeniable, having over 100 number one singles and record sales exceeding 100 million units. George Strait once said, he's going to leave a big footprint in the music world when he decides to step away. And that day is yet to come, but there's no doubt that people notice the impact he has made as he steps into the Country Music Hall of Fame. On a personal note, Tony and I have known each other for 44 years, and I don't have a better friend. And what I think about often is that life I've spent with Tony and all the work we've done together, the fact that he's the one single-handedly that talked me into recording Go Rest High on That Mountain. I will be forever indebted to him for that. He heard the song, and I was not going to record it. It was too personal. It was a little too hard for me to sing, and he heard it. He said, "You have to record that song." And he couldn't have been more right. To me, that's one of the best decisions he ever made for me, and I'm grateful. So ladies and gentlemen, would you please join me in congratulating the non-performer inductee into the Country Music Hall of Fame, Mr. Tony Brown.
I've had a lot of big things happen in my life, in my career. This is the biggest. This is cool, I don't care who you are. I'm totally blown away. I always wanted to be in the Country Music Hall of Fame. Never, ever imagined that I would be. Today I stand here just totally blown away from an old 60s and 70s saying I'm rushing right now. Anyways, thank you to the CMA, to the Hall of Fame. Thank you, Vince Gill. Thank you to all the people that helped me get here. There's so many people that helped me in my career, the musicians who played on my records, the engineers, the songwriters, the song pluggers. And this is better than money. You make records and you can make some money, but this is better than money. This is about making an impact. And when it comes right down to it, that's the reason we all get into this business, is to make an impact. This means more than anything ever could mean to me. So thank you so much.
Tony Brown, everybody. Great job, buddy. There's so many great stories I wish I could tell you. Far too fine a gentleman to tell those, but we've been through it all. So proud of you, Tony. Congratulations. And now to our next category, the Veterans Era Artist Inductee, which represents artists that came to national prominence before 1980. If country music is a family, today's inductee was its matriarch for decades. She earned that role not just through her talent, but by bringing musicians together across generations, encouraging them and bringing out the best in people as if they were her own family. Born in Maces Springs, Virginia, 1929, I don't know if you know this, 25% of the Hall of Famers are from Virginia. She was literally born into country music. Her mother, aunt, and uncle were a trio whose music laid the foundation for commercial country music. And by age 10, she had learned to play the auto harp and began appearing on her family's radio broadcasts. The family act appeared as regulars on several radio shows: Richmond's Old Dominion Barn Dance, Knoxville's Tennessee Barn Dance, and the Ozark Mountain Jubilee in Springfield, Missouri, before setting their sights on the Grand Ole Opry here in Nashville in 1950. In the 50s, she began pursuing acting, studying New York, and landing roles in Gunsmoke. I had no idea she was Festus. And The Adventures of Jim Bowie. But her music always called her home. By the early 60s, she was on the road touring with her mom and her sisters, and often alongside Johnny Cash. As they spent more and more time together, the connection between the two became undeniable. Inspired by her feelings for Johnny, she wrote the great classic Ring of Fire. When he heard the song, he transformed it into a signature hit that topped the charts for 7 weeks. The two married in 1968, embarking on a 35-year partnership filled with music and love. They won Grammys for Jackson and If I Were a Carpenter, and she continued recording on her own, scoring a solo hit with A Good Man in 1971. But perhaps her greatest impact wasn't in the spotlight. It was the invaluable role that she played in the country music community as she turned the Cash home in Hendersonville, Tennessee into a creative hub and welcomed established and aspiring young musicians and songwriters. She nurtured her babies who included Chris Christopherson, Waylon Jennings, Larry Gatlin, just to name a few. She inspired and assisted countless others. Even later in life, her creative spirit never dimmed. At 70, she released Press On, winning a Grammy for Best Traditional Folk Album. She won 2 more for Wildwood Flower in 2004, though those awards came after her passing in 2003. Johnny once said that his wife was one of the most neglected artists in country music. Sadly, I think her contributions to country music will go under-recognized simply because she's my wife. It certainly has been up to now. That was, he wrote, his only regret about marrying June. Today that changes as she takes her rightful place among family, friends, and legends in the Country Music Hall of Fame. One thing I get to have on my resume is she was getting a Lifetime Achievement Award at one of the award shows, I can't remember which one, and they asked me if I would escort her out and help her get to the podium and say her remarks, and of course I did, and I walked out there with her, and she handed me her purse. And so I never said a word, but I was her purse handler for a day, which was, it's in my resume. I'm going with it. But would you please help me welcome her children, Carlene Carter and John Carter Cash, to the stage to honor the newest inductee into the Country Music Hall of Fame, June Carter Cash. There she comes.
Thank you, Vince.
You go first.
Okay, he told me to go first because he's scared that he might have to interrupt me or something. I just can't tell y'all what this means to us, to me and my brother, to our whole family. My mom was a force of nature. Everything she did with grace and style and finesse and humor. And I was so proud to be her daughter. And anything that's good about me is because of that woman. My mama was the shit, y'all.
And you can quote her there.
I don't mind. Go on.
So, if you look up here, Will the Circle Be Unbroken? Of course, that song has ancient origins. It's true. And I grant that, and probably all the rest of my cousins would. But A.P. Carter holds a copyright for Can the Circle Be Unbroken? But there's one person who sang that song more than anybody else in her lifetime, and or anyone else's lifetime for that matter, and that was my mother, June Carter.
Yeah.
And so, no matter what, she was a songwriter, she was a musical historian, she was a comedian, but she carried the torch for country music history with her through her lifetime. Millions of people knew the Carter family songs because of my mother not willing to stop singing the songs of her family, and she was made of respect for our grandmother. She appreciated the music, but she brought it all together with a laugh. Yeah. And that's the spirit of my mom. And our mom, she was full of love. Anchored in love was one of her life mottos. We still carry that with us.
Yes, and press on.
And press on.
No matter what.
Yeah,
press
no
on.
matter what. Isn't that right, Marty? But anyway, blessed to be here today. And she did not know a stranger. and she'd love you now as much as she would ever. She would be so grateful for this. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Thank y'all so much. God bless y'all.
Congratulations. I first met your mama in about 1981 or 1982. I was playing in Rodney's band. Marty was there, Marty Stewart was there. He was one of the guests. I think he was playing in Johnny's band. We were doing a TV special in America. And yeah, 82. I wish it was 92, but unfortunately it was 82. And, and I was singing with Rodney, and he had me singing the tenor on this certain song he was going to do in the show. And he pulled me aside and he said, now listen. He said, what's going to happen? He said, is June's going to come in here and she's going to try to take your part. But I really want you to sing that part. And I said, oh, great. Okay. I'd never met her before. And so we come into the rehearsal and we start the song, and I'm singing the tenor above Rodney, and she stops the rehearsals. Johnny, somebody's singing my part. And, and Rodney looked at me and he goes, do not move, don't. And she looked at me and she goes, son, what are you singing? And I said, I don't know. I don't really know. It's just some part that Rodney taught me. He said, well, Johnny, what are you singing? And he said, well, I'm just singing the bass way down low. And lo and behold, I graduated from harmony singer to purse holder. So pretty sweet. Loved your family, still do. And last now, but certainly not least, into the modern era, artist inductee, which represents artists at least 20 years after they first achieved national prominence. On the day the Gulf War began, a young man from East Tennessee pointed his car west on I-40, chasing a dream he couldn't truly know the magnitude of, only that he wanted to write songs and touch people the way George Jones, Conway Twitty, Alabama, as well as Van Halen, Bruce Springsteen, and Jackson Browne. Now that's a good bunch. A recent East Tennessee State graduate, he traveled to Russia with the school's bluegrass band, and they played the Turf on a very different Lower Broadway downtown, and made early trips here to Nashville, meeting with publishers and producers. About a year later, he got a contract with the legendary CMHOF Rose Publishing Company, and soon after that, he got a recording contract with Capricorn Records. His debut record came in 1994, and while his first single didn't gain much traction, this self-penned The Tin Man introduced a voice with something to say. It wasn't until his manager, Dale Morris, introduced him to Hall of Famer Joe Galante that things began to fall into place. His first single cracked the top 10, and by 1997, he had his first #1 hit. In the 2000s, he had greatest hits with How Forever Feels, She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy, Don't Happen Twice, and he was headlining arenas. But it was the George Strait Country Music Festival stadium tours that showed him what was possible. With no shoes, no shirt, no problem, everything changed. The album debuted at #1 on Billboard's all-genre top 200 albums charts, and it took America by storm. A sound emerged, blending rock energy with the storytelling of bluegrass and country music, and offering a new way to hear the music. His hit singles and awards blew out switchboards, and ticket sales followed in rapid order. Beyond winning the 4 CMA Awards and 4 ACM Entertainer of the Year Awards, he took country music to places one wouldn't expect, selling out stadiums in Boston, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Oakland, Minneapolis, Chicago, Detroit. None of those places have any Hall of Famers. 25%, something like that. I don't know. He had duets with Dave Matthews, the Wailers, Grace Potter, Willie Nelson, and Mac McAnally. They topped the charts. He's continued to push the envelope, collaborating across genres with Ziggy Marley, Mindy Smith, Pink, David Lee Murphy, Kelsey Ballerini, and good friend Jimmy Buffett, who he helped induct into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. For 16 years, he has been one of Billboard's top 10 touring acts of the last 25 years, setting records and defining what a country tour could be. And his fans, named No Shoes Nation, are equally voracious. That's a word I've never used. I've never pronounced it. I'm not sure I said it right. But they wrote it, so I'm trying. And Variety once called him a concert-going community rivaled only by the Parrot Heads and the Deadheads. And this inductee also sees them as friends, people who share his hard work ethic, the way he loves and loves to live in the moment. I love that, and absorb all the energy that he's got going on. Whether creating No Shoes Radio to keep the music flowing, performing 3 unprecedented nights at Gillette Stadium last summer, or taking No Shoes Nation to a whole new dimension as the first country artist at the Sphere in Vegas. He was coming to trying to let me give him some tips on how to play there not too long ago, so he can claim that, but we'll see. He's been an amazing performer that's always looking for ways to enrich the lives of his fans. Like Heart Life Music, his first book is coming out this fall. He created it on a world based of his heart, pulled through the life and infused it with music of all the things that he had valued in his life. Giving everything he had, he delivered the kind of truth that became the sound of coming of age across the nation in the 21st century. And if there's anybody in country music who puts all of his heart and soul into this music we call country music, this inductee does it. That's the mindset that got him to the Country Music Hall of Fame. I've known this kid the whole time, and there's not a better guy in the world. So would you please join me in congratulating the modern era artist inductee, Brother Kenny Chesney.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow. It doesn't seem like it was, thank you. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago that I was a kid in East Tennessee. And I went with my mom and my stepfather to a field about 10 miles from my house to see this group, Alabama, that was going to play. I couldn't believe they were going to play just right down the road from my house. And I went to that show, and something happened to me that night. There was a fire lit. Something happened in my soul that set me on this path. If you'd have told that kid that night, on a hot summer night in East Tennessee, that this was going to happen, I would have told you that you were crazy. You fast forward, before that, I go into college, and I was like Vince said, I was in a bluegrass band in college. And there was a guy there named Jack Tottle that taught me a lot about playing guitar. And I think it's so ironic because when I was in college, I played the Carter Fold a couple of times with that bluegrass band. Now, had you told that kid that was playing a slightly out-of-tune guitar and probably not very good timing, Vince, that he was going to be in the Country Music Hall of Fame, be inducted with June Carter, I would have told you that was an unbelievable dream. I would have told you that I'm getting ready to wake up somehow on my couch in college, and all this was just a dream. And then meeting Troy Tomlinson, who signed me to ACOF Rose, I would have told you that it was just not possible. Right, but I've always felt like that country music told a lot of truth. And like Sarah said, it also is fueled by a lot of dreams. And I had a really big dream that not a lot of people saw coming. And I can promise you I did not see this coming. But my dream started on the shoulders of the dreams of George Jones. It was built on the shoulders of the dreams of Randy, Teddy, Jeff, and Mark, the group Alabama, and Conway Twitty, and Doc Watson, who I spent a whole summer trying to figure out how to play Deep River Blues, with Doc's finger-style picking guitar. And also with business types like Jerry Bradley, who signed me to ACOF Rose along with Troy. And I know he's in the audience right over there, like Joe Galante, who taught me so much about the music business and was the Don Corleone, if you will, of the music business. But my dream was built on all those dreams. And to be standing here Like Kyle said, you know, I'm from East Tennessee, and it is so amazing to know that you're going into the Hall of Fame with 3 fellow East Tennesseans, you know, people that grew up where I grew up. My grandparents lived on the same street that Chet Atkins grew up in. I rode my bicycle past that property all the time. To know that I'm going in with Dolly Parton is a huge deal for me. And to also know that, you know, I don't have a brother in life, but if I did, it would be Dean Dillon. Dean Dillon and I have written a lot of songs. I've looked up to Dean my whole creative life. You know, he was someone that really taught me a lot about creating with a lot of authenticity. And Dean and I spent countless days on a boat in the Virgin Islands creating songs, and it's one of my favorite days of creating music in my life. So it is a big thrill and a big honor for me to stand up here knowing that I'm going into the Hall of Fame with 3 people from East Tennessee. That means the world to me. Like I said, I had a really big dream, and I'm still pushing that dream as far as I can. You know, I just wanted to record and write songs that reflected the lives of a lot of people that came to our shows. And I just wanted to spread as much positive energy and love as I possibly could. And it is, standing up here, I know it's not a dream, it's real, and it feels so real. And I just want to say thank you. Sarah, Joe, and Clint came to my house a little while ago and gave me the news. And I want to thank you, Sarah, for coming. Thank everybody at the CMA. And this is beautiful. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Got a whole new respect. Kenny Chesney, he played bluegrass in Russia. That might top me opening for Kiss in a bluegrass band when I was in high school. I don't think so, but did they like you over there? Oh, cool, yeah. They didn't care for me either. They booed us off stage. It was awesome. My favorite memory in my musical history. And now we all know that 25% of the people in the Hall of Fame are from North Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia, so take that with you. And what a great day, and I'd like to take a second just to congratulate all of you on your induction. You know, the beautiful thing about this place is you can never say about anybody that's inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame that they don't deserve it. And to all of you, you deserve it so much, and my congratulations to you. And that's about it. Thanks to the CMA. Take care, everybody.
She's 83 and he's barely driving.